Gale Force Winds had the privilege to be in conversation with sailors on board HMCS Harry DeWolf while they were deployed in the Caribbean. And welcome to another edition of Gale Force Winds, the Force-8 Hometown Edition, right here on board HMCS Harry DeWolf off the coast of the Turks and Caicos in the beautiful Caribbean Sea. And what a pleasure it is to be in conversation with sailors of the Royal Canadian Navy. And I can't wait to talk to the coxswain of this impressive warship. Ginette, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
So I'm Chief Petty Officer First Class, Premier Maître de Première Classe, Ginette Seguin. I'm originally from Sudbury, Ontario. I was a bartender before I joined, had quit college 4 times, and the future was not so bright, and I decided to give the Royal Canadian Navy a shot, see how it went, and it was the best decision I've ever made. 26 years later, I'm still here.
So Ginette, there's a lot to unpack there. Bartender, 4 attempts around college. Tell us about bartending in Sudbury. How was that?
This is a PG show, or no?
It's going to go to your family. So.
No, bartending was fantastic from the age of 19 to almost 22. It was great, but the last job I had, I saw that it does take its toll, and it's not really great for family life, the nights and the evenings and stuff like that, as much as I would have liked to have done it my whole career, because I thought it was great. I was trying to look at something more sustainable for the future as I got older.
So, Ginette, Sudbury, not a big Navy town. How did the Navy find you, or how did you find the Navy?
I actually went to the college because a friend of mine was getting her teeth cleaned by a student dental hygienist, and it was career week that week, and so to waste time, I started talking to the recruiters at the college, and we started talking, and they trying to convince me to join the Navy. And there was a seed that was planted when I was in grade 9 when there was the Gulf War. There was 2 people at Remembrance Day that talked about their brothers that were in the Navy in the Gulf War. And so the seed was planted then. So when I talked to the recruiters, and one of them was in the Royal Canadian Navy, it brought me back to that. And I was like, hey, I could do that.
Right. So you're the coxswain on board the ship, and I think you're going to have to explain that. Maybe explain what you did in the Navy as an occupation before you became the coxswain.
I was a naval communicator, which was all radios, HF, VHF, satellite, also the old, what you would have called signalman trade, where you're on the bridge doing officer of the watch, doing all the signals for officer of the watch maneuvers, MIO hailing, the maritime interdiction operations hailing and stuff like that, which I thought was fantastic. I got to do that twice in the Persian Gulf. That's what I did.
Tell me now, that's an occupation that's really evolved over the years as technology has evolved. I remember back in the day there was flashing light and semaphore flags. Does that still exist, or is it a little bit more computer-based now?
Well, some of the visual communication are not used as much as they used to, because we have networks on board, and we can get the message across a lot quicker by typing or using the phone, right?
Yeah.
But we are still training people for flashing light and flag signals. Semaphore was taken out of the trade a while back when NATO agreed that it was no longer necessary. But in order to remain relevant when we do multinational exercises or operations, we have to stay current with what everybody else is using. And so flashing light is still in.
So I bet your Morse code is probably still the best on the ship if you're the coxswain and you were a naval communicator. But tell me what you do as a coxswain.
As the coxswain, a friend of mine said a few years ago, and I've kept what she said, is that we take care of the human systems on board. So we don't necessarily intervene with the divisional system. We just keep a close eye, make sure that the divisional system is running well with regards to communication, task personnel, how personnel are tasked. Today, for example, I am the central person that knows what everybody has been tasked to on the ship. So when we're looking for extra people to handle something that is not foreseen or something like that, I know who hasn't been tasked yet. So then I can personnel manage at the ship level in that respect. Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense.
with discipline and culture change and awards and stuff like that. That's a ship thing. So we just make sure that everybody has the knowledge that they need in order to make fair and consistent decisions with regard to their personnel. What we wouldn't like to see is the same action by two different people in two different departments and dealt with completely differently, but the same circumstances. Of course, nothing will ever be the same twice. Nothing. Each individual will. We deal with things depending on a lot of circumstances and a lot of facts surrounding the event. However, I just keep a close eye to make sure that we're fair and consistent within HMCS Harry DeWolf.
It's like human resources 4.0. It's human resources on steroids and so much more, because this is a complex moving platform where a big family working together, and like every family, there's, I'm sure, challenges and great opportunities all along the way. Tell me what your favorite part about being in the Navy is.
The adventures.
Yeah.
I have gotten to do so many things that a lot of people would not have been able to do, like all of the bodies of water I've sailed on. I've sailed around the world. Only one continent I haven't been on yet is Antarctica. I've gotten to parasail on the beach of Phuket. I got to go sea doing off the coast of Kuwait, zip lining in Australia, you know.
Keep going.
Yeah, I could go on and on and on, but it's the adventures.
Yeah.
Jerry, what a career, eh? What do you think?
Well, I wanted her to keep going because I'm totally fascinated. You know, the adventure is something that's really special. You know, we've talked to a lot of sailors. It doesn't come without sacrifice, being away from home. But I think what you're doing for this country, Ginette, is commendable. And that's why Alan and I are here. You know, listening to you talk, I did 30 years in business. Leadership 101.
You never went ziplining?
Yes, I did. In Corner Brook, Newfoundland, by chance. But yeah, I mean, your leadership skills are quite evident. The moment we met you, we knew you were in charge. So, and I mean that with the deepest of, you know, respect. That's what I'm saying. So I when I was an officer cadet, I was a little nervous around a coxswain.
I've heard you say that on your podcast.
I'm not as nervous anymore. You know, at 56, I don't have that much to lose. But you know, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having us. Your crew are incredible. Just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Ginette, anything you'd like to say to the folks back home?
Hey, Sudbury, keep watching this podcast. It's fantastic. They feature a lot of Royal Canadian Navy personnel on their podcast. Also, a lot of other influential people. And thank you for your support over the years. I couldn't have done it without you. Merci.
Well, another wonderful edition of Gale Force Winds. Sudbury's got to be pretty proud right now. Hey, that's a wonderful city and wonderful part of the country. They got to be very proud of what they've produced with this coxswain on board this ship. I can tell you this, the world needs more HMCS Harry DeWolf, and quite frankly, Canada needs more Ginette Seguin. Merci.
Thank you very much.